All right, so we're going to do section 9.8, which is factoring polynomials completely. So what we're going to be doing is basically combining all of the different ways we know how to factor and putting them into one section. So remember, if you have four terms, you have to factor by grouping. That's the only way to factor with four terms. Also, if you're going to continue factoring until you cannot factor anything else. Okay, so for the first problem, we have four terms. So we are going to automatically start this with factoring by grouping. So we would do our two sets of parentheses. And remember, we're trying to take out a greatest common factor from each group. So for the first group, we would take out x squared and we would have left x plus 3. For the second group, we would take out a positive 5 and we would have left x plus 3. And then remember, we're trying to get the same thing left in our parentheses. Those are called binomials. We're trying to get them to be the same. So then I would have a set of parentheses with what's on the outside, so x squared plus 5, and a set of parentheses with what we took out that was the same. So you end up with x squared plus 5 times x plus 3. Okay, so the next one would be the same process. So factor by grouping. So for the first group, I can take out an x squared and I have left x plus 2. For the second group, I can take out a positive 8 and I have left x plus 2. So then I'm going to have x squared plus 8 as one parentheses and x plus 2 as my other. Okay, so it looks like we have two more that are factoring completely with factor by grouping. So make two groups. Y squared plus y, I can factor out a y, and I'm left with a y plus 1 because remember, y divided by y would be 1. My second group, I can factor out an x, and then I would be left with the same thing, y plus 1, because x divided by x would leave me with 1. So I created the same binomial. So I'm going to have my first set of parentheses is going to be y plus x. My second set of parentheses is y plus 1. Okay, so for my next problem, set up your two groups. For the first group, I can take out an r, and I have left r plus 4. For my next group, I can take out an s, and I have left r plus 4. So then I have r plus s, parentheses r plus 4. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to look at is factoring completely. So if you don't have four terms, then you're going to move on to looking for perfect squares. And if you don't have that, you're going to move on to factoring using the sign chart. So for this, we look at, do you have any greatest common factors that you can take out? So in this case, we can take out a 3 and we could take out an x. So what we would have left would be x squared minus 4. So this perfect square right here should ring a bell for you, and that would be a difference of squares because we have a perfect square and we have a minus sign. So then we have 3x, and then remember, for difference of squares, you have two sets of parentheses. One is x plus 2 because you have the root of 4, and then the other one would be x minus 2. So whenever you see perfect squares, you got to think of what are those special patterns that have to do with perfect squares. Okay, so for this problem, it looks like I can take out a 4 and an x. So if I factor out a 4x, I would have left x squared minus 11x plus 24. Okay, so 24 is not a perfect square, so I'm most likely looking at the sign chart method. So I'm going to refer to that.